What's up guys, Kyle here again, and today we are checking out the Mesa Boogie Mark V 90. Let's do it.
Hold up. Alright guys, real quick. So, I recorded this video about a month ago before it's actually airing. And in that time, I knew about the Mesa Mark VII release, but obviously I couldn't say anything about it. So with that being said, I kind of felt this was the right time to release my Mark V playthrough video, and a lot of you guys have been asking me to get a Mark VII on the channel. So in this video, if you guys want to try to help make that happen, do me a favor in the comment section of this video, tag Mesa Boogie in your comments and tell them that you want to see me review a Mark VII or demo a Mark VII on my channel, and you know, maybe we might have some luck in getting them to do that. I would really appreciate it, and without further ado, back to this video.
Alright guys, hope you're doing great out there today. If this is your first time here at my channel, my name's Kyle, and what I do is I take awesome high gain related guitar gear, I record it with a simple SM57 setup, and I give you the unprocessed audio on your end. So if you're into E-stand or thrash riffs, drop C hardcore riffs, and dudes that have an inexplicably strained voice, I fell apart on that one. You're in the right place! Consider hitting the like button and subscribing on the way out so you don't miss any more of my stuff. Thanks! Alright guys, so a long requested amplifier on the channel here. We have the Mesa Boogie Mark V 90 watt. Now a lot of you guys have been asking me, because I've owned probably 3 of these things since I started this channel, why are there no Mesa Boogie Mark series amplifier demos on the channel? Well, to be 100% honest guys, I am afraid of the Mark series a little bit because they are incredibly tricky and delicate amps to dial in. The slightest movement on every single control on these things can result in a whole lot of unwanted changes in the EQ and the tone of the amp. And to be honest, I just never really had the faith in myself to try and dial these amps in on the channel and, you know, kind of do it with any sort of authority for you guys. So here's what we're gonna do. Feel like I have a pretty good tone right off the bat here. We are on the 3rd channel on the Mark II C+ setting. We are gonna treat this a little bit less as one of my playthrough demo review type videos of an amplifier, and we're just gonna treat this as like a hangout session where I kind of get to know this amp a little bit better and you guys are along for the ride. Because if I call this a demo, if I call this a review, the Mesa Boogie Mark cultists, purists out there, are gonna slaughter me if I don't set the amp up exactly the way they set it for their favorite settings in their environment, in their home, with their guitar, with their overdrives, whatever. I'm just gonna call it what it is. I'm hanging out, I'm checking this amp out, I'm gonna try to dial in some good tones, and you guys are here to hang out with me and come along for the ride. So, with that being said, we're gonna stick to the 90 watt mode on this. I'm not gonna go through this amp and demonstrate all the features. All I'm basically gonna do is try to get some good tones out of it. We're gonna start on channel 2 real quick because I have not really explored channel 2 very much. With that being said, for the intro clip, I was using my Balaguer Typhon here with a Seymour Duncan distortion in the bridge. We were going into my 1999 Mesa Boogie traditional cabinet with the stock V30s, SM57 on that V30, no post-processing in any of the audio that you're gonna hear today. And I was boosting the amplifier with my MXR M77 Badass Modified Overdrive. A lot of people are already gonna be angry because
the Mark series doesn't need an overdrive.
Well, I liked how it sounded regardless of what you think. So there we go. But we're gonna try this thing with and without pedals. So let's get switched over to channel 2 and start dialing in some tones. All right guys, so we're on channel 2. I am on the edge setting. We have the EQ on and we're in 90 watt mode. We're gonna keep the treble, mid, and bass as they are because as you guys know, on Mark Series amplifiers, the EQ knobs are more of a feel. They control more of the feel and the response of the amp, and the EQ sliders actually control the EQ or the tone stack, the voicing, what have you of the amp. So we have it set on the Mark 1 setting. That sounds absolutely awful in my opinion. That's because we have the presence cranked. Let's turn that down. That treble's making a big difference in the overall tone as well. Let's bump our high slider here. Bump that gain up a little bit. All right, so that is not the most saturated tone, but boy, does that have a lot of low end punch. But it's like incredibly anemic as far as the mids go. There's just not a lot of mid content there. It's really kind of chirpy and quacky in the high end. What happens if we switch this over to the normal mode? Not a lot. Woo! Yeah, that is just, it's bright up top, man. Let's pull our 6600 slider down a little bit. Jeez, what a huge difference. Man, these things just have so much going on. It's so hard to get exactly what you want out of them if you're not super familiar with the amp. I can't get that top end chirpiness out. Let's go over to the crunch setting on this channel. And immediately the high end is more balanced over here. I'm liking that a lot more. Let's bump the treble up. All right, immediately I like that much better. Much better if you're going for like a more classic rock style tone. Let's crank that gain up and see what we can get out of here. We're actually starting to get pretty saturated. Let's pull back the mids a little bit with these two sliders. Let's hit it with a hot boost, but let's actually try just the Mesa Grid Slammer. These are I never tried to get super high gain out of this channel, but with a boost, man, it's actually surprising me quite a bit. Cool. I was not expecting that out of this channel. Let's bump that treble up even more. See if we can get a little bit more tightness out of it. Yes, we can. Let's pull the mids back just a tad. All right, I'm impressed, very impressed. Let's go over to the Mark 1 setting. I have no idea what this is gonna sound like. Really fat and dark. Oh, we're on the Mark 1 thick setting, that might be why. Quite a blanket on top. Let's push this slider up here. Was not expecting this at all. We still have the Mesa Grid Slammer on out front. Okay, cool. How do we get a little bit more mid out of it though? This is the normal setting still. A lot of gain. Let's pack the gain down actually. Now we have a little bit more definition. It's not quite as congested sounding. Let's go to this thick setting. Incredibly tight and percussive. Let's turn the boost off. Man, I agree. It doesn't really need it. Let's pull the lows back just a tad, a little bit more low mid, and let's bump that gain back up. It's cool. It really is. I just wish that it had a little bit more mid content. No boost right now. All right, super tight, percussive, not a huge fan of the overall voicing, but it's cool and it gets plenty saturated, especially on that Mark 1 mode without a boost. It's interesting, it really is. But let's go over to channel 3. But, okay, so yeah, we adjusted all of our slider EQ settings here, and you can obviously, you can store all these if you want to, but for my purposes, I'm not gonna bother because this amp is going out the door to the homie Chris Martin as soon as I'm done with this video, so we're still on the Mark II C Plus setting. Let's pull some of that bass out of the EQ here because that's gonna tighten up the feel. Add some more treble because that's gonna do the same thing. And let's add a little bit more gain. That's with no boost out front, and it's very tight. Let's pull that bass all the way out on the front control here, and a tad more gain. We pretty much maxed out on the gain. Really tight. For me, it needs a little bit more mid presence overall, but that's impressive. Let's go over to, we're on the normal. Let's go over to the bright setting. That's such a great tone for not having an overdrive on, like for real. All right, I'm having fun. Sounds good. It sounds really good. Honestly, I was kind of dreading doing this video because I was worried I was gonna struggle with the tones. Exact opposite. I'm getting tones I like and I'm having fun. So hope you guys are having fun too. We have a lot of hiss out front. We're gonna turn the gain down and we're gonna turn the volume down a little bit because it sounded like we got a volume bump. All right, so I like the bright switch. I want to leave that on, but let's try to dial the high end out elsewhere. Let's try to use the present. All right, guys, I believe you now. The Mark V is a monster. All right, sounds incredible. Let's go over to the extreme setting. I really have not messed with the extreme setting hardly at all. It's a lot louder. All right, let's turn it down a little bit. Definitely a very kind of scooped low mid thing going on. All right, so it seems like we're lacking a little bit of top end. Let's add a little bit of presence. Really, really percussive on that low end. Presence doesn't seem to be doing much. Let's add some 6600 hertz slider. Per usual, fine-tune adjustments. Everything is very sensitive here. There are some frequencies going on right now that are a little annoying by myself, but I have to think that they would probably cut through pretty well in a mix. All right, so all this is with no boost. The extreme mode is cool, but it is extreme. It's like the insane mode on the Spider. It's just a little too much of the things that make it ridiculous. We're gonna go back to the Mark IV setting. All right, we're gonna pull that gain back. Let's turn on just a regular Ibanez tube screamer. What else can we do? Mids all the way down. I think having the mids up higher is what I haven't been liking most of the time on this amp because it just seems to add some overall cloudiness. Let's add that bright back in. Okay, time for an EMG loaded guitar. Let's see how it reacts to active pickups real quick. All right guys, EMG 81 here, Jackson Rhodes V, and no boost on. Seems to work just fine with EMGs in my opinion. Actually, with no boost, it's incredibly tight, still saturated and compressed, percussive, reacts to the right hand great. EMGs, not usually a huge fan of EMGs, but on this amp, they seem to be a win in my opinion. So let's grab a different guitar, we'll do a down-tuned hardcore riff real quick and probably call it a day. Alright guys, so let's turn that bright switch off, let's turn that tube screamer back on. I've got my 05 Les Paul Custom here with the stock 490 AT bridge pickup. Alright, not bad, not my favorite thing in the world. One last guitar, because I'm gonna get yelled at if I don't try a 7-string. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for me today on the Mesa Boogie Mark V 90. What did you guys think? Are you a Mark V 90 owner or a fan of this amp? And if you are, how faithful were the tones that I got out of it? How well did I dial it in based on, your experience with the amp? Did I nail the tones or did I completely miss the mark? What do you think about the tones I got in this video? Let me know down in the comments. If you guys liked the video, hit the like button on the way out, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and if you want to help my channel and what I do here, down in the description of this video are my affiliate links, like Sweetwater and Zounds, where you can purchase this amp if you're looking at one of them and you haven't quite pulled the trigger yet. Get them from these fine retailers and help your boy out at the same time. I would really appreciate it. Or add your name to this list of incredible people by joining my Patreon community and supporting the channel that way. Everything that goes into that Patreon account goes back into gear for this channel so I can make more content for you guys. I would really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Kyle here again. We'll see you next time.
You know what this wall is missing? Another amp. There we go.